I'm not going to mention names, but I think many people know. You walked out when you couldn't take that, a person who was labeled a predator. Do they come with a certain learning when they come back after they have gone through the shame of being called a predator?
I don't know. And I don't think it matters. You have wronged so many people. And why should you get the benefit of the doubt now? That is one. And second, I don't think they change fundamentally. This person you're talking about, someone told me that she was his subordinate in a newspaper, and she went to him and said that, this is my script. And he said, your lines have to be tighter than your jeans.
Jeez.
You get away with it. How do you get away with that? And what do you do to the confidence of that girl? She left media as it happened. But what are we doing, honestly? And we let them be, and we give them space, because a lot of us don't want to be branded as trouble. You raise a stink in one place, and 10 other newsroom leaders will say, okay, this one is bawaliya. Isko mat lo. That's the word they use, no? Bahut bawal hai. Isko nahi rakho. So that's what happens, Everyone's
She's a
making
problem person, because she won't take it.
Yeah.
She won't just brush it off.
Yeah.
But, it happens often. There was a case when a reporter said, this was quite some time ago, when she said that a certain politician, rubbed his shoulder once in a wrong manner, then rubbed the arm in a wrong manner. Should we take it out? So I asked her, I said, what do you want to do? To go through the thing? I call up the politician, I take it up, we can issue a letter and all that. And she said, no. She said, I just want to let you know, मैं अपने तरीके से deal कर लूँगी, but I want you to know that this politician is like this. So don't put young reporters on the job who don't know how to handle. I will handle the man on my own. And she handled the man on her own terms. And also we sent out a message that, listen, watch out, because what you did, this time we are letting it go because the reporter doesn't want to go forward with it. But be careful. Otherwise, next time it becomes an issue. Now, that happens because also she knows that hum isko reporter, she got a sympathetic ear. Not every time that happens.
It doesn't happen because I think you would empathize with what they go through. Also, a lot of times it's non-verbal. A lot of times you don't know how to. I remember about 15 years back, I went to the studio after a big interview had just finished with a very prominent minister. And the studio had different sets, so I had to do the news from another set. And the editor is asking the minister, would you like tea or coffee? He's not replying. He's not replying because he's staring. And it was a big newsroom, and he kept staring, and I felt violated without him having said anything, without him having done anything.
The male gaze, as
how
they
do you
say.
quantify that? Yeah. And what do you say? That he was looking at me.
Yeah.
But you feel terrible.
Yeah.
And these things happen, and I'm sure a lot of reporters on the field go through this.
Yeah.
What are the mechanisms? We all have these Vishaka guidelines, POSH, etc.
No.
We are far away from making it a safe place for women to be, a place where they can thrive just on the basis of merit.
How? What do we do now next? What should newsroom managers, what should news media owners, editors, how do we go forward? Awareness to hai, right? How do we go forward? That mentality changes, or what do you put in place? Because it's not enough to put laws and rules, you're saying.
No, I think the younger workforce is much more aware and open. When you interact with people who have become journalists in the last 2 to 3 years, they are much more open to respecting boundaries. They understand. The women are much more vocal, and they say, I will not put up with this. I think this is a generational shift. I think there is more awareness, but as leaders, we have to facilitate it because people in teams take cues from how their leader behaves. If somebody in my team calls me and says, "I'm feeling depressed," and I can't explain why, but I don't think I'll be able to come to work and write today. One way of handling it is saying, okay, don't come, but don't make it a habit, or not giving that person the best assignments from there on.
Correct.
The other way of saying is that, how do you want me to help you? It's okay. I have been through this. I know a lot of people who have good days and bad days. Everyone does, in fact. And it's okay. Take your time and let me know how I can help you. Word travels, they will feel more comfortable. You have to create that culture. That culture building has to happen gradually, but it has to happen consciously.
Did you have any boss who did that with you? That empathy?
Yeah,
You did.
I did.
You're lucky then.
Yeah.
Right?
I was really supported and allowed to grow. And also, I think it also happens with bosses who are not insecure. Because
Male bosses, women bosses, both.
both. I've had some very good mentors.
There's a lot of talk that happens at the TV, the whole model of TV is so TRP driven, and that is why you are facing a credibility problem in the sense that people don't trust television news anymore. Do you agree with that view?
I think I agree with that to the extent that in the attempt to go viral, we are sometimes making a mockery of ourselves. And while people may be consuming something that has gone viral, and you'll get the views, but then it's a slippery slope. Then they'll never come back to you for something. They will not trust you, like you said. There's a credibility crisis, and all of it stems. I feel really bad for reporters who are mocked at when they do something really silly on your bathtub PTCs and all of those things.
Yeah.
They are really pushed to deliver and to do something different. And so the problem is not with that reporter or that anchor. The problem is with the editor who's letting it go on air. I don't want to make a sweeping statement, Smita, but I think that in the media industry in general and in India in particular, we have a leadership crisis more than a credibility crisis.
Okay.
We are not trying to innovate. We are not experimenting, neither with the business model nor with the content formats. I look at memes and WhatsApp forwards, and they're mocked at all the time कि WhatsApp से उठाते. But WhatsApp forwards have so much more creativity than say a pollution story. 10 साल पहले भी वही कर रहे थे हम. आनंद विहार बस अड्डे पे AQI इतना है. एक लंग एक्सपर्ट, 2 बच्चे खांसते. The story has not changed. 10 years later, we are telling the same story in the same way. But people are coming up with so many better ways to say the same thing on social media. So why is that creativity missing in the newsrooms? I would not like to believe that. I think people sitting at the top don't want to do anything different. The pandemic forced us to make some changes in terms of technology. Had it not happened, maybe we would have kept sending OB vans 10 years later to do this. I mean, we are not experimenting. Same with business models. Today, the person who's starting in a newsroom is earning less than your domestic help.
Yeah, that's
so.
true.
Why would good talent stay?
Yeah.
And why would they be inspired to do something else?
And Palki, I've been in this line for 30 years. You've also been in this line for 2 decades. The journalists who were coming to us were people who had taken the civil services, not cleared it, and then came to journalism in the 30, 20 years later. But now, journalism schools have mushroomed. We have thousands of news channels, legal, illegal, satellite TV.
Yeah.
If I count the YouTube channels and everybody, literally we have doing content, Hindi, regional languages, English. There are jobs galore, but nobody stays. There is a frustration that kids feel when they join journalism. They're not able to stay on in the profession. why is there so much of lack of talent? What is it? Even though there are so many journalists who are being churned out from these institutes.
People ask, what is their growth path? And how do you tell the growth path? I mean, it's very slow growth for sure. The only people who stay on for 2-3 decades are people who are either crazy and really want to do this.
Yeah.
Or people who are not good at it and will not find anything else anywhere.
Yeah.
As pathetic as it sounds, that's how it is. The really good people are moving on, because how long are you going to tell them that you will not get weekends off and you will not even get the salary that your MBA cousin is getting for the next 10 years?
And you will have no work-life balance. वो तो out of question.
It is out of the question, and for a long time it's very thrilling, to be doing things in the newsroom, to stay very late, to chase a story till the very end. But beyond a point, everyone has EMIs to pay and everyone has families to look after, and you have to make it worth their while. In 20 years, I have never heard any business team come and say, अब तो market बहुत अच्छा है, इस साल अच्छे hike दे दो. Recession or no recession, we are always in cost-cutting mode. Always. I mean, I remember going to Ukraine and I thought that I went with a team of 4. And this is the mojo age where a reporter is sent with one phone and one selfie stick. So I thought I've come with a big team and we'll do some great stuff. And I'd like to believe we did. We were doing stories every day. We were doing a show. We were trying to... And then I see international channels with teams of 30, 40 people who've blocked entire floors in 2 hotels. One where they want to stay because it's a 5-star, and one where the view is very good because they can create a good frame. And I thought, there's no way we'll be able to match this, because we're always going to be short of money and resources.
Palki, if I may go back to the era of, in the 80s, the heyday of American television networks, NBC, ABC and all, they used to come to India for all the big stories, like Rajiv Gandhi assassination and those kind of stories. And they used to come like that. They, I was working like as a stringer with them, attached to them, like a gopher. That was the word, who'll get the information. There was no Google, if you remember those days. So you had to get information and give them so that they could file their stories. But they would come literally with 20-man teams, and they would come with gear, camera gear and all that gear. They would book satellite, costed hundreds of dollars. No way that India could match. Of course, we didn't have private television also in those days. But what I'm trying to say is that those guys then collapsed under the weight of their own, inability to budget their news. They shut bureaus across the world. International news went off their thing. They depended on agencies to cover international news. They couldn't do it. India, on the other hand, it's been lean and mean because हमारे पास resources शुरू से ही नहीं थे.
Well, that's fine. I get your point. You should not overspend. At the end of the day, it's a business and you have to look at the bottom line and you have to make it work for everyone. But I'm saying that we are not ready to stretch the limits of our imagination. Today, a flop actor earns more than the top performing editor in this industry.
Okay.
And we are all in the business of content. So why is it that we cannot... I love giving this example. A documentary on Chernobyl will be watched on Netflix with a 500 rupee subscription. But the same documentary on a TV news channel will not be watched. Documentaries chalti hi nahi hai is what the sales team will tell you. Because we are not investing. If you what we did in my show, it was resource investment. It's very easy to get guests, most of whom are not paid. They're just,
sure, nobody's paid.
Yeah, a lot of, they're not paid and they just come and they give their time and we create content, and it takes a lot of effort, I'm sure, for the anchor to put himself or herself out there every day to discuss a lot of topics and
it's
impromptu.
Cheap way of doing content, frankly.
Yeah. But if you're going to build 1 hour of content, you need writers, you need editors, you need people who design graphics, you need video. That is resource investment.
Yeah.
So I think that there are gains to be made, and I think it will make business sense if we create a good product, because people are now spoiled for choice.
Okay. See, there was this whole talk about the amount of influence that, say, a BBC or an Al Jazeera has. If you see if you see their population of UK, right, and you compare that with one channel of BBC and the international influence that it has, and compare that with India's population, we probably have more TV. People who have TVs are probably 7 or 8 times the population of UK, and yet we don't have an international channel. Even though we have so many domestic channels, is it time now for India or Indian channels to invest in making a global channel? Of course, Vion was there, but it doesn't really have that impact of being, of being a mover and shaker like, say, an Al Jazeera or a BBC.
I think we are 20 years late. We should have done it then. We should definitely, there's an urgent need for us to do this, to take control of the narrative, to tell our story right, and to tell it to the whole world. And there is a market. You mentioned Vion. By the time I left, only 40% of our audience was based in India. 60% was outside India. And these were not just NRIs. These were people from all over the world, all ethnicities, all countries, who were engaging with us, who were writing to us. And that shows that the world is interested in what we have to say, in our perspective, in our point of view. I remember earlier this summer, we were in Dubai and we were having lunch, and we asked for the check. And it came with a huge slice of cake. And I said, I did not order it. And so the head chef came and he said, this is from the Rajapaksas. Sorry, what? I'm a Sri Lankan. I watch your coverage. Sitting in Dubai, on Sri Lanka, from a channel that's run out of Noida. And he says, I really like what you say, and this is complimentary. And so you strike a chord. I think there is so much to be done. We are not thinking big, not on an institutional level, and not
as a country level. Do you think the government should have done? I mean, there was this DD International. Nobody will believe the government language, right?
It may not fly. And see, if the government does it, then you'll say that they're peddling their agenda. If they don't do it, then they're blamed for not, supporting. At the end of the day, if you're talking about free media and a business, then you have to create a business model that is going to work. Yeah. That's exactly what I said, that at the leadership level, people are not thinking big enough.
So why, on the other hand, if I was to come back to audiences, why is it that Indians are not really interested in international news all that much? If you watch the debates, if we just see prime time is rarely anything to do with international news other than Pakistan. And that also if they have done something like attacking us, or if they are collapsing because of whatever reason, there's a coup or there is a jalsa or something like that, like an Imran Khan issue. It's that. Or else if it is China, Galwan, that's a story. Ukraine somehow captured a little bit of news, not just because of the Indian students, but it did capture a little bit of. But other than that, international news is just hardly anywhere.
Because we don't do it. We don't do it like that. I think the Indian audience is more aware and interested and invested in what's happening in the world than people in a lot of other, especially in the West. They're very inward looking. I also remember reading this study that said that people in developing countries are more interested in global affairs than people in developed countries who don't want to look beyond what's happening in their life. There is a higher chance of an Indian being able to tell which city falls in which state in the US than an American being able to.
Vice versa. Yeah, correct.
Right? So we are interested, but we have to, like I said, make that story accessible. If you start giving out results of the midterm election without explaining to the viewer the format and how it is different from our elections, then beyond a point they'll lose interest.
I think Americans only don't understand what their elections are about.
That's another point. But
it's so complicated and the results take ever so long. So they themselves don't know. But you're right, like you said, that there's a lot of ignorance about. See, that also comes with a great deal of prosperity. They don't need to know.
They don't need to know.
Right? Whereas in India, Indians are very politically aware. Why? Because we interact so much, or ordinary Indians need to know कि police वाला क्या करता है, MLA क्या करता है, सरपंच क्या है. The need to interact is great because they control everything, right? So that's why. But you think that it's the editors or the owners of television media who are, probably there's a dissonance that they don't understand what the viewers want?
Possibly. And they don't want to... a lot of them are busy copying each other.
The mental well-being of women journalists and even men, I guess. So much hate comes in on the way of love also, but hate too comes in. So much of trolling happens. How do you take it? I'll give you a personal example. When COVID happened, and Rohit Sardana got COVID, and there was a kill list, where people put in names of people, TV news anchors who should die of COVID. Usme Rohit ka naam bhi tha. And my name was also there in that thing. I just took it as, forget it, how does it matter? I got admitted to hospital when that Delta wave happened. Right. And I was fighting it out. Okay, ki ho gaya, I'm in hospital. Rohit died. In the first day that I was in the hospital, he died. And somewhere it hit me so bad.
I can imagine.
I was like, oh my God, they were making a kill list and Rohit is gone. How many more will go? Stupid maybe that it shouldn't affect me, but maybe it was the medicines, I mean, they put you on steroids and all those things.
We're humans.
Humans.
I mean, it affects us.
Right?
We may say that it doesn't affect us, but it affects us.
Yeah.
And increasingly, I worry that although my children don't have access to these platforms, but they have friends, people talk, people say all sorts of things. People want to comment on your life, on your family, on your journalism. If you disagree with me on subjects. Don't make it personal. But that's why they're called trolls. And I have a policy I know that you give it back as good as you get it.
I try.
I try to not respond.
Yeah, I've seen.
I don't. Because I don't think I want to give them even that satisfaction.
Maybe that's a good way. I will get to being that.
Because I don't want, I cannot stoop to their level. And I don't see what their problem. And what amazes me is how somebody says something and a whole ecosystem swoops down on you. And some of those people are people you worked with. Some of those people are people you don't even know. So my first reaction always is, why you?
Yeah.
Like,
but you're doing this conversation in your head.
In my head. And
why you is in your head. You don't write it.
I never write it because I'm like, okay, if this is what you've chosen. I've seen friends do this. People I used to call friends. It's very hurtful.
Yeah.
Because you can always pick up the phone and call and say why you did not agree with this or what you found wrong with it. But your idea is not to question me. Your idea is to get followers by stone pelting on social media at me. So I will not give you that satisfaction.
Fellow journalists do that.
Journalists do that. And there's this new trend of people reviewing your stories on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, people do that. In the UK, I did something on hijab, and then two people are sitting and playing my video and critiquing it and playing the second clip and critiquing it, and then they're getting like, I don't know how many lakh views. So in my own way, I've started telling myself that they want to get views and followers by association. You should not give them that. They just want to engage with you. And this is their way of staying relevant.
They haven't reported the hijab issue, but they're reporting on the reporting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. You do anything or what, you will see it on YouTube.
Even in India, it's there. It's the so-called fact checkers.
Yeah.
They're not fact checking. Many of them are sitting and actually just, अरे तुमने कैमरा वहाँ क्यों भेजा, तुमने वहाँ नहीं भेजा. This is fact checking, क्या?
And a lot of these people, say all sorts of, use all sorts of terms and pejoratives for journalists, are themselves people who once wanted to do things in newsrooms and did not deliver or did not survive. And so it's a case of sour grapes. It's their problem.
They comment, and I've seen senior women journalists also commenting on attire of women journalists. And it's hurtful.
It is.
And women get it more. I'm sure you have also, ऐसे वाले earrings पहन के आ गए, ऐसे वाले कपड़े पहन के आ गए, jacket क्यों नहीं पहना, Indian clothes क्यों पहना, बिंदी क्यों नहीं पहनी, बिंदी क्यों पहना. These are what? Please listen to the content. No, they're not listening to content. It's how you're attired. Even when I do this YouTube thing, I'm sure there'll be a whole thing that Palki ma'am to बहुत सुंदर लग रही थी. Because a whole lot of thing is that.
Yeah.
It's about presentation.
A lot of these rules apply only to women. We are supposed to look a certain way. We are supposed to, if we are too soft and smile too much, then we are diffident. If we are too aggressive, then we are rude. There's never a good fit. आप सबको खुश तो कर ही नहीं सकते. And there are rules about, I think over the past few years, one by one, I've thrown all the rules out of the window. I want to wear jhumkas with a jacket, I will wear it. You don't like it, don't watch it. But whose definition of presentable is it? And what is good?
So, Palki, you are senior enough now to take these decisions.
Yeah.
Like I said this to Navika also, that now some of us are in this position of seniority where we can take this decision, so we can make the changes in our newsrooms. We can send out women in conflict zones. It costs more to send a woman out in conflict zone. This is what I want to tell. I appreciate channels which send out women into conflict zones to do reporting, because it means double the kharcha.
Absolutely.
Right? It means that separate room. Cameraman ke liye alag room, reporter ke liye alag room, otherwise they can share a room. It means that, you can't travel at night, and if you're traveling at night, you put a guard with that person. There's a whole lot of things that go. Stuff that at my time I couldn't do in many places. Nowadays it's easier because we guys can take that decision. Did you in your positions, did you take that decision that even if a woman anchor doesn't fit a particular standard, which most channels, that you will continue to fight her cause?
I have, and there was a situation when I was told to take somebody off air because of weight, and she was miserable, and she'd gone through some issues health-wise, and she said, "I'm working on it," and I knew she's working on it. But this happens. I remember when I was expecting my first child, and I told my boss about it. I was told, but you have to come back in shape quickly. And the congratulations followed later. And he was not a mean person, but this is how they are programmed. And I do not like it.
Yeah.
So we go through so many things. I mean, also there are so many departments and newsrooms which still have male bosses. They don't understand why is it that when a child falls sick, I have been in a situation where I remember my daughter was, I think, a year old, and she had an acute ear infection, and she was crying, and I left for work very early when my children were very young, and I have always believed in them being independent, and everyone in the family sort of divides the chores and handles.
It takes a village.
Yeah, but on that day she was being very clingy, and I said I have to go to work, and everyone said, okay, she'll be fine. But somewhere I went there with that, and it doesn't happen with me very often. I can be very dispassionate about some things, and I'm like, this is a project, I have to do this. My work is as important as everything else. But I reached office, I got ready for the show, and the headlines rolled. And after the first headline, I started crying.
Okay.
And because I was not on air, and the team was very good, and the PCR guys, they went into a break. And I said, I know she's fine, but just don't like being here. And then nobody said anything to me.
Even now, I think you're choking when you're remembering.
It's very sad. It's very, and you know, for weeks, I worried that I may have appeared as less committed to my work because I did this. Because no man would ever sit in a studio and cry and say, I have a sick child at home.
And then you overcompensated, I'm sure.
You try to do that. It's very sad. And have you seen that Sabita ad? Where this woman goes for a job and, you know, and she says, the interviewer says, okay, is this your first time? And she said, yeah, when I told them I'm pregnant, they stopped giving me any projects. So I'm saying that these things still exist. I was reading yesterday's newspaper, the UN parity report. We're still far away from gender parity. Salaries, all sorts of things. So it is not a level playing field. Whether it's assignments, whether it's promotion, whether it's giving you the space, people who do karobar are promoted faster. I don't do it. So then I will never be...
Explain this now.
Karobar.
Those who don't know, yeah.
Karobar is a bar in a car in the simplest of terms. After your shift ends, you stand outside in the parking lot, put your glasses on the roof of your car, drink, chat, gossip, and then go home. It is unsafe because a lot of people are drinking and driving.
This is after the newsroom bulletin.
Yes. And it happens. It's part of the newsroom culture, I believe. And it's a great place to bond. I have never done it in 2 decades. And there was a time when I felt that I'm not going to that smoking room and I'm not doing karobar. I'm being left out everywhere. But I couldn't get myself to do it. So I'm saying that we have broken a lot of barriers, but there are still boys' clubs.
Even when you do beat journalism, you've done foreign beat, you know this, right? That there are times where you hang around, or the men hang around, not women, but the male reporters can hang around in bars for long hours with people, get the news out, smoking rooms, as you said. And women, diffident, I guess, cannot do that. At least in our culture, it's hard. In America or in UK, in Europe, it's okay, you know, hota hai. But especially women who have children back home, then you make that choice. That you got to go back or you can't do that.
For me, honestly, I know a lot of people struggle with that. I have never had problems with long hours or weird shifts. I have very good backup at home. My problem is that men still get the wrong message a lot of times. And if my choice is between appearing a little snobbish and reserved and appearing too open and too friendly, then I'd take the first one. I don't want anyone to get the wrong message. I'm really not interested in anybody. I want to do my work and do it well.